If you're as good at making messes as I am, you're going to want a good Shopvac. We have 7 different brands today, some costing quite a bit more than others, so let's get the testing underway and see which brand is the best. We'll see which Shopvac vacuums water the fastest. We'll find out which one creates the most suction. We'll test which Shopvac has the largest capacity. We'll find out which one vacuums 50 pounds of sand the fastest. And the final event will be a grudge match, hooking up the vacuum lines in a head-to-head contest and letting them slug it out. At only $88, the Hart brand is the least expensive Shopvac that we'll be testing. 16 gallons and 6 peak horsepower. Limited 3-year warranty. 9-piece accessory kit. Made in China. Shopvac handle. Extension wands. Wheels. 3 nozzles. Foam wet filter. Assembling the Hart Shopvac was very quick and easy. Installing the wheel kit with 4 screws and the handle with 2 screws took less than 2 minutes. The hose inlet diameter is about 1 3/4 inches. The hose locks into position by sliding into position and then twisting clockwise. I used a crane scale to weigh each of the vacuums, and the Hart is pretty light at only 20.2 pounds. Peak horsepower is a term used in the wet and dry vacuum industry for consumer comparison purposes. It does not denote the operational horsepower of a wet and dry vacuum, but rather the horsepower output of a motor, including the motor's inertial contribution achieved in laboratory testing. In actual use, the Shopvac motors do not operate at the peak horsepower shown. There are quite a few online calculators for converting amps to horsepower. According to the power use meter, the Hart is around 11.4 amps. Assuming 99% efficiency, which is extremely optimistic, the Hart Shopvac produces around 1.6 horsepower at 11.4 amps and 115 volts. I placed the sound meter 36 inches from the center of the electric motor, and the noise level is 81.5 decibels. At a price of $95.42, the second least expensive brand we'll be testing is made by Stanley. 5.5 peak horsepower and 12 gallon. 1-year limited warranty. Stanley is made in China. The Stanley comes with 2 extension wands and 3 nozzles. The grab handle was already installed, and installing the wheels took about a minute. Just like the Hart, the Stanley's hose diameter is about 1 3/4 inches. The Stanley was even lighter than the Hart at only 16 pounds, which includes the weight of all the accessories. The Stanley is only making around 1.3 horsepower at 9.6 amps and is a little quieter than the Hart at 79.6 decibels. At a price of only $99.99, the Bauer brand is tied with the Ridgid as being the 3rd least expensive brand we'll be testing. 6 peak horsepower and 14 gallon. It claims to draw 10 amps. Flow rate is 115 CFM. Made in China. Since the Bauer brand is guaranteed heavy duty, I wanted to know more about the warranty, but I couldn't find any information on the packaging. According to the instruction manual, limited 90-day warranty. The Bauer comes with 2 extension wands and 4 nozzles. Just like the Stanley, it only took about a minute to install the wheels. The hose end on the Hart and the Stanley are about 1 3/4 inch, but the Bauer's is a 1/2 inch larger diameter at 2 1/4. At 19.2 pounds, the Bauer is slightly heavier than the Stanley but lighter than the Hart brand. At 10.2 amps, the Bauer is making around 1.4 horsepower. The Bauer is extremely noisy at 87.5 decibels. Also costing $99.99 is this Ridgid brand. 6.5 peak horsepower and 16 gallons. Hose diameter is 2.5 inches. The Ridgid is made in Mexico. The Ridgid comes with a full lifetime warranty. Unlike the other brands, the Ridgid has a removable electric motor which can be used as a leaf blower. The Ridgid has 2 extension wands plus a leaf blower attachment along with 3 nozzles. Ridgid claims their hose is 2.5 inches, but the hose ends are only 2 1/4. Installing the wheels and the plastic bracket that snaps into position took under 2 minutes. At 24.6 pounds, the Ridgid is quite a bit heavier than the previous 3 brands. At 12.3 amps, which is around 1.7 horsepower, the Ridgid is the most powerful yet of the 4 brands. It's a little noisier than the Hart and the Stanley at 82.4 decibels. At $101.49, the Craftsman is the 3rd most expensive brand we'll be testing. 16 gallon, 6.5 peak horsepower. 3-year limited warranty. Made in Mexico. Air volume is up to 185 CFM. The Craftsman includes a vacuum bag, 2 extension wands, and 3 nozzles. Just like the Bauer, the hose end is about 2 1/4 inches in diameter. Assembly takes around 3 minutes and includes installing the wheel kit, the grab handle, and a couple of brackets that'll keep the hose contained when not in use. The Craftsman was slightly lighter than the Ridgid at 23.2 pounds. It was also slightly more powerful at 13.1 amps, which is about 1.8 horsepower, and slightly quieter at 81.5 decibels. At a price of $124.99, the second most expensive brand we'll be testing is made by Shopvac. 14 gallons, 6.5 peak horsepower. Powered by SVX2 Advanced Motor Technology. 5-year warranty. Assembled in USA of US and global components. The Shopvac brand includes a large vacuum bag, 2 extension wands, 3 nozzles, along with a brush and a squeegee attachment. The Shopvac claims to be assembled in the United States, but this Shopvac required far more assembly than any of the other brands, including the wheels, a bracket for the large wheels, a handle, and a couple of smaller brackets. Assembly is still pretty easy and takes less than 10 minutes. The hose end is 2 1/4 inches. At 28.4 pounds, the Shopvac is the heaviest yet. It's also a little less powerful at 11.8 amps or 1.6 horsepower. It's the second noisiest Shopvac at 83.5 decibels. And the most expensive brand we'll be testing at $143.37 is made by DeWalt. 14-gallon, 6 peak horsepower, 3-year limited warranty, 1-year free service, 90-day money-back guarantee. 11 amps, 110 CFM, 32.4 pounds. The DeWalt brand is made in China. The DeWalt includes a vinyl accessory holder, 2 extension wands, 4 nozzles, and a large vacuum bag. The hose end is 2 1/4 inches. It takes around 5 minutes to assemble the DeWalt, which includes installing the wheel kit, the accessory holder, and the handlebar. The accessory holder seems a little undersized for all the attachments. At 32.2 pounds, the DeWalt is by far the heaviest of all the Shopvacs. At 10.9 amps, it's not as powerful as the Ridgid, the Craftsman, or the Shopvac brand. It's the quietest Shopvac at only 75.6 decibels. So the DeWalt is the quietest at 75.6 decibels, Stanley second, and the Craftsman and Hart tied for third. If you're planning to lift or carry the Shopvac and weight is a factor, the Stanley is the lightest at only 16 pounds, Bauer is second lightest at 19.2, Hart third at 20.2, Craftsman fourth at 23.2, and Ridgid fifth at 24.6. Higher wattage or amperage is usually marketed as more powerful and better. Not surprisingly, the Shopvacs with the highest horsepower ratings, all rated for 6.5 peak horsepower, had the highest amperage. The Craftsman finished first at 13.1 amps, Ridgid second at 12.3, and Shopvac third at 11.8, all of which were rated for 6.5 horsepower. However, there is a big difference between power use, or what we just measured, and power output, or real-world performance. So let's get into some testing and see if these numbers really matter. When it comes to vacuums, 2 very important factors to consider include airflow and vacuum suction. So we'll first measure airflow, or how much air each brand is able to move, in our next test. I'll position the hose on each Shopvac so the air is blowing out of the Shopvac and into this test stand. Air will enter the top of the box, then go around an air deflector, and finally enter and travel through an 8-inch wind tunnel. Inside the wind tunnel is a wind meter, which will measure the airspeed in miles per hour. And the Hart is off to a great start with a peak speed of 10.45 miles per hour. The Stanley didn't do nearly as well with a top airspeed of only 7 miles per hour, so Hart holds on to the lead. And the Bauer's airspeed was 10.1 miles per hour, so the Hart brand holds on to the lead. And the Ridgid is definitely moving a lot of air at 12 miles per hour, taking the lead away from the Hart brand. And the Craftsman takes away the lead from Ridgid with a very impressive 13.1 miles per hour. And the Shopvac at 10.5 miles per hour isn't going to be enough to take away the lead from the Craftsman. And the DeWalt did just about the same as the Shopvac at 10.4 miles per hour. So the Craftsman takes the top spot at 13.1 miles per hour, Ridgid second at 12.1 miles per hour, Shopvac third at 10.5. So the top 3 Shopvacs with the highest peak horsepower ratings took the top 3 spots. While airspeed is very important, equally important is suction. Suction is what allows a Shopvac to pick up things while airflow moves them into the vacuum tank. So in our next test, we're going to see how much suction each Shopvac applies to a rubber ball. Shopvac design and build quality have a huge impact on suction. For example, a lid that doesn't seal well, like this lid on the Hart brand, it might have a powerful motor, but air leaks around the lid prevent good suction. I'll take an average of 3 samples for each Shopvac. And the Hart brand, which has fairly good airspeed, really struggled with suction at only 4.4 pounds. The build quality of the Stanley does seem slightly better than the Hart, but there's definitely room for improvement. Even though the Stanley brand has the lowest horsepower rating and a much lower airspeed, it actually outperformed the Hart brand at 4.8 pounds. The build quality of the Bauer definitely seems better with a much tighter lid and bucket fit. The Bauer had slightly less airspeed than the Hart, but check out the lift! 10.2 pounds, more than twice as much as the Hart and Stanley. Very impressive! The Ridgid has a much larger diameter lid and bucket than the Bauer, which means there's more opportunity for air to leak. Unfortunately, the lid just doesn't have a very tight fit. The detachable motor is also another area prone to leaking. And the Ridgid has great airspeed at 12.3 miles per hour, but just doesn't have very good lift compared to the Bauer at only 5.8 pounds. So Bauer holds onto the lead at 10.2 pounds. Just like the Ridgid, the Craftsman has a very large diameter lid and bucket, making it more susceptible to air leaks. However, it doesn't have the detachable motor like the Ridgid. And the Craftsman did better than the Ridgid at 6.4 pounds of lift and moves into the second position behind Bauer, which did quite a bit better at 10.2 pounds. The Shopvac has a smaller diameter lid and bucket compared to the Ridgid and Craftsman. It also seems to have a better lid to bucket fit than most of the other brands. So the Shopvac brand moves ahead of the Craftsman with a pretty good 7.8 pound pull, but that's not going to be enough to take the lead away from Bauer. Wow, the build construction of the DeWalt definitely seems the best with a very tight fit between the motor and the bucket. It also has a smaller diameter lid and bucket compared to the Ridgid and Craftsman. And the DeWalt did the best yet, narrowly beating the Bauer at 10.4 pounds. So the DeWalt came in first at 10.4, Bauer second at 10.1, Shopvac third at 7.8, and Craftsman fourth at 6.4. The air filters have been removed, so let's test the wet vacuuming capability of each of the brands next in a side-by-side showdown. I've added food coloring to the water. Stanley is on the left and Hart is on the right. I'll start the clock, and at the 5-second mark, the test will begin. And both Shopvacs are guzzling down the water, but the Stanley is definitely faster than the Hart brand. And the Stanley emptied the 5-gallon bucket in 7 seconds, and the Hart was pretty far behind at 9 seconds. Ridgid is on the left and Bauer is on the right. The Ridgid has a better airspeed than the Bauer, but the Bauer has better suction. Moving water definitely requires a lot of suction and good airspeed. Both brands are doing great, but the Bauer is gulping down the water quite a bit faster than the Ridgid. And it's Bauer for the win at just under 6 seconds and Ridgid at 7 seconds. Shopvac is on the left and Craftsman is on the right. Craftsman has a pretty big airspeed advantage and Shopvac has a slight suction advantage. And it's Craftsman for the win at nearly 6 seconds and Shopvac at 7. Let's compete the DeWalt against the Bauer since they are pretty evenly matched. DeWalt is on the left and Bauer is on the right. And both brands are very fast, but DeWalt is in the lead. And it's DeWalt for the win at just under 6 seconds and Bauer once again finishing up just behind DeWalt. The Craftsman and the Bauer both finished very close to 6 seconds, so let's have a tiebreaker. Craftsman is on the left and Bauer is on the right. And this is definitely the closest race yet, with both brands moving the water very quickly, but it's Bauer for the win over Craftsman. So DeWalt finished first, Bauer second, and Craftsman third. The Stanley, Ridgid, and Shopvac all tied for fourth at 7 seconds. According to the fine print, the bucket size does not indicate actual wet capacity. I'll weigh each of the buckets before and after the test, and we'll calculate the actual capacity by dividing the total weight by 8.34 pounds, which is the approximate weight of 1 gallon of water. Testing the Hart brand first. And the Hart brand has a 16-gallon bucket and did fairly well, holding a total of 12.2 gallons. And the Stanley, which has a 12-gallon bucket, held 9.4 gallons of water, so the Hart brand holds on to the lead. The Bauer, which has a 14-gallon bucket, stopped picking up water at only 9.5 gallons, so the Hart brand holds on to the lead. The Ridgid, with a 16-gallon bucket, the same size as the Hart brand, did the best yet at 12.5 gallons, testing the Craftsman next. And the Craftsman, which is a short and wide bucket just like the Ridgid, just about cleaned out all 3 buckets with a very impressive 13.9 gallons of water and takes the lead from Ridgid. Shopvac, which is a 14-gallon bucket, stopped picking up water at 10.8 gallons, and the Craftsman holds on to the lead. The DeWalt, which also has a 14-gallon tank, did the best yet of all the 14-gallon Shopvacs, holding 11.6 gallons of water. So the top 3 all had 16-gallon buckets. The Craftsman came out on top at 13.9 gallons, Ridgid second at 12.5, and the Hart third at 12.2. The DeWalt, Shopvac, and Bauer each have 14-gallon buckets and came in 4th, 5th, and 6th respectively. I'll reinstall the air filters for the final test, and we'll see how quickly these Shopvacs can lift 50 pounds of sand, beginning with the Hart brand. Air filter efficiency, hose length, and build design are all factors that impact performance. The Hart brand really struggled. The hose clogged several times during the test and temporarily stopped making progress. It finally finished the job at 78 seconds. The Stanley, which has both better suction and a shorter hose than the Hart brand, did a lot better, easily picking up the sand in only 40 seconds, nearly twice as fast as the Hart brand. The Bauer, which has about the same airspeed as the Hart but a lot more suction, totally crushed this test with a very impressive 31-second performance. The Ridgid has better airspeed but a lot less suction than the Bauer, and it really had a big impact on performance as the Ridgid needed longer than the Bauer to pick up the sand. The Craftsman has a little bit better airspeed and suction than the Ridgid, and both were factors as the Craftsman picked up the sand in only 38 seconds and moved into 2nd place behind the Bauer. The Shopvac has a 10-foot hose while most of the competition has a 7-foot hose. The extra hose length really slowed the Shopvac, which needed 63 seconds to remove the sand. So far, Bauer is in the lead, but the DeWalt does have a slight edge over the Bauer for airspeed and suction. And the DeWalt totally crushed this test with a 28-second finish, beating the Bauer by 3 seconds. So the DeWalt came in first at 28 seconds, Bauer second at 31, Craftsman third at 39, Stanley fourth at 40, and Ridgid fifth at 43. Let's kick off the grudge match with Hart brand to the left and Stanley on the right. And the Stanley didn't waste any time knocking the wind right out of the Hart brand. Bauer on the left and Stanley on the right. And this wasn't even a contest, with Bauer knocking the wind out of Stanley in a quick 1-2 punch to the gut. Bauer on the left and Ridgid on the right. Since the Bauer is overpowering the Ridgid, I powered it off and then back on again to see if it could recover, and it still overpowered the Ridgid. And the Bauer is getting cocky as it's letting the Ridgid deliver punches to the gut and just laughs as it knocks the wind right back out of the Ridgid. So it's Bauer for the win. It's Bauer on the left and Craftsman on the right. And the Bauer's been warned for unsportsmanlike conduct, but the Bauer just doesn't seem to care. Once again, the Bauer's up to its old trick and just laughs off the gut punches and just knocks the wind right out of the Craftsman. Bauer on the left and Shopvac on the right. And the Bauer brand tells the Shopvac and its SVX2 motor to eat dirt as it totally sucks the wind right out of the Shopvac brand. And it's down to the final match with Bauer on the left and DeWalt on the right. And this has turned into a real slugfest with back and forth blows to the gut. But after several rounds of back and forth blows, it's DeWalt for the win. So which Shopvac is the best? That really depends on what you're looking for. If you need a Shopvac that has a lot of suction for picking up water in really heavy items, the Bauer is going to be hard to beat as far as performance, but on the other hand, my biggest concern with it only comes with a 90-day warranty. I really have a lot of respect for companies that stand behind their products, and 90 days just doesn't seem enough, especially when you consider the other brands are offering between 1 year, 3 year, or even a lifetime warranty. In my opinion, the best overall Shopvac is the Craftsman. It has terrific airspeed, very good suction, and a very good warranty. All the videos in this channel are viewer suggested, so if you have a video idea, I hope you'll take time to leave a comment. Thanks so much for watching. Please take care, and I look forward to next time.